All right, we are Paul and Kimberlee, and this is 3 for 3. This week's 3 for 3 is on Managing Oneself by Peter F. Drucker. It's a short little read, only about, 50 pages or something like that.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. And it's probably one of the best books that I've ever read in my entire life. It's going to be top 5 for me, easily. I kind of wish I had read this when I was in my early 20s or, late teens.
Yeah.
This really would have changed the course of my life. Seriously.
Yeah.
And the whole book really is about learning how to be your own manager of your life and your career, figuring out your strengths and weaknesses and what you really should do with your life.
Taking control of your life.
Taking control of your life.
Absolutely.
And practical tools on how you do that.
Yeah.
So with that, let's jump into our 3 for 3.
Yes. So the first tool that we pulled out of this was know your strengths. So specifically use feedback analysis to understand and know your strengths. So one of the things that Drucker points out in the book is that most people think they know their strengths, and most of the time we're wrong.
Right.
So a lot of times we think we're good at something, and we might be good at it or have an affinity for it, but there are a lot of other strengths that we can discover and use to our advantage. Right. By using feedback analysis.
I think the most important point there is that you really can only ever build performance on strengths.
Yes.
Right? You can't build performance on top of weaknesses.
No.
And you can't change weaknesses necessarily into strengths.
Not all the time, no. It's
right.
true.
Right. Yeah. So the second thought that we pull from this is be aware of intellectual arrogance. And intellectual arrogance, according to Drucker, is basically areas of your life that you have intellectual blind spots, but your pride turns those into disabling ignorance. So, the classic example is the technical guy that is so bad with people, he's proud of it. Or you have the emotional person who's really in tune with people's emotional feelings, but they don't know basic math.
Right.
Right? Neither one of those people are doing it right.
Right. Well, both are missing out on the knowledge and the counterbalance that the other side provides.
Right.
So, the third point that we had was take responsibility for your relationships. And I feel like this was maybe kind of how he ties all of these things together. Really key to this, for me, the best takeaway, key to the book. So he breaks it down into 2 sections. The most important one, I think, is communication. And he talks about how, we have a little quote from the book. So he talks about how to be effective, you have to know the strengths, the performance modes, and the values of your coworkers, yourself, the people around you. I'm adding those last couple things in. And the quote I was thinking of is, taking responsibility for relationships is an absolute necessity. It is a duty. If we aren't trying to take better care of our relationships with others, then our life just isn't as fulfilling.
Right. I think the key point there was it's on you to make sure that you're managing the relationships, right? If you don't have the relationship, you don't have the career that you want, it's because you're not managing it appropriately. You can't acquiesce.
It's no one's fault but your own.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
So that's this week's 3 for 3. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever that button is. And head over to paulandkimberlee.com, sign up for our newsletter, and find us on all our other social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all the socials.
Yep.
So, and for now,
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again for another week of 3 for 3. Bye.